Arsenal continued their brilliant form by thrashing yet another Premier League team, this time being Burnley, in a 5-0 dub-in at Turf Moor. In another dominant display, there were so many good performances all around the pitch, with Arsenal really hitting their goal-scoring touch. Let's go through the game and talk about the big moments. Now, going into this game, as you can see by my content, I was actually very confident. I was very confident that Arsenal were going to get a result because Burnley are pretty poor defensively, and I thought Arsenal's tactics would be better around them, and they perfectly were again. I think Trossard played up front and Havertz were brilliant again together, like they were against West Ham, always interchanging, always doing so much different things on the ball. Now, I'll probably go for a separate tactics video looking at some of the players, but I thought the tactics really worked well again. We had Ben White invert like we saw against West Ham, and he came into the middle, often leaving Declan Rice to go back in defence and everyone to move over. I think a special shout out has to go to Kivior. I thought Kivior played amazing. I think every week he's getting better and better in this role where all he has to do is defend and be a proper defender, and sometimes he does be the overlapping option going up that left back. I think he's really coming to alive. There were so many times where they'd get past someone down his side and he'd be ready waiting and just push the ball out at the end or do a great tackle. He was so solid, they barely could get past him the whole time, and I was not worried when they went to win in a 1v1. That being said, he also did a brilliant job at creating some of the goals. Our fourth goal, he did brilliant with the overlapping, picks out, gets a little deflection, comes to Havertz, Trossard puts it away. And like the fifth goal, which he technically got the assist in because he threw it to Havertz and they didn't mark him, and I thought he was brilliant down that side, and it's exactly what we need. I don't think we even miss Zinchenko one bit. And although he cannot invert, he's clearly very good at going forward and picking out passes, and he's also quite smart of when he makes the run and when he doesn't, and I really think he does help Martinelli overall. And speaking of Martinelli, I thought this game was very good again by him. Only got one assist, but at least it is a goal contribution. Arguably should have got more though. Did brilliant pressing sometimes in the second half to really win the ball back, and was very quick and electric. He's always that break option, and I thought today he really played quite well, considering he probably won't get much credit. I think without a doubt right now one of Arsenal's best players is Martin Odegaard. I think if you're thinking this guy should be sold or do anything, I still think you are stupid. Yet again, he is so good on the ball. He comes back and deep and wins the ball back and will pass it off, run up the pitch and keep the ball. And sometimes he stays up and uses some of the other players to actually come back and defend for him. He's so instrumental at winning the ball and keeping it for Arsenal, making the right passes when he wants. And that brilliant assist for Saka's second goal, the third goal Arsenal scored, was pinpoint exactly where he wanted it, inside the defender. That is the quality we want Martin Odegaard for. Goal and assist for him today. His shot as well early on was amazing goal. Back in that O range, just outside the O, the penalty area, easily put it in. Brilliant volley. We've seen him do it so many times before. I thought Saka played really well. Yet again, I think at the start of the game he struggled a little bit to get into it, as a lot of players on him. It's quite hard. He ended up putting the penalty away by brilliant play by our team, and his goal was taken so well at the start of the second half. Takes it onto his right foot, puts it into the roof of the net. No chance of Trafford. It's brilliant goal. Typical what we see of Saka all the time. When he's one-on-one against people in the close range, then you know what's going to happen. And a day after I did that video about him being world class, he goes and scores another 2 goals, making it 7 in 6 now, and an assist. He's been on brilliant form, and he is one of the reasons why we're scoring so much. And the last player I really want to highlight and focus on is obviously Kai Havertz. Now, I am known for someone that does defend Kai Havertz a lot. I've defended him all season, but I think now you're starting to really see why Arsenal play him. I think this game was the perfect example of why Arsenal signed him and why he's in the team. And although I think he's been playing well every single game, I think this was a real star performance. I think he was probably one of our best players on the pitch. He is a duel monster. He won 12 duels out of 18 that he tried. And watching the game that I did, you could see Kai Havertz always win them headers in the midfield to win the second ball. For our fourth goal, for example, when Trossard scored, Havertz had a shot, got blocked, went to Trossard. To get that break in the first place, Havertz wins the header. Havertz heads it up to the side of the pitch, and then we go in attack. This happens so much of Havertz just winning it deeper, and he was so good at progressing forward also to bully and push the defenders away to win. And eventually when Trossard got brought off, Havertz was moved probably a bit more into that central striker spot, and his goal was taken brilliantly. They didn't mark him from that throw, and I don't know what Burnley are doing, and he goes, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to run at the defender. He nutmegs him, puts it away from past the keeper to add to a brilliant performance. He is becoming a real leader for this team and becoming a real important player for this team. I think his heading and physicality and the duels that he wins is so important, and now it's clear as day. I can see exactly why he's in the team. One of the tactical things that Arsenal did in this game were very interesting, I thought. Obviously, we've seen the Ben White invert, and he was very good at it, and I thought sometimes under pressure he kept the ball away and we went on for an attack. I also thought it was very interesting how Havertz and Trossard worked. A lot of the time, especially in the first half, Havertz was that person that was running on the last defender. Odegaard, Trossard, Rice, they were all waiting for a pass over the top for Havertz's run. And a few times Havertz actually made the run. He'll get a touch on it, bring it down, and it would go to someone like Saka or Trossard, who could also run in after him. This happened once in the first half where Trossard missed the ball and we should have scored, and it happened a few minutes later, which we won the penalty. Havertz does a touch, passes it down to Trossard, Trossard makes a run through and then gets taken out, giving us a penalty. I thought it was a very interesting way of going about it, and we used that more over the top ball system, which we saw a couple of times against West Ham. Obviously, I think this was mostly because Burnley played quite a high line, but it is quite cool to see us use it in action. And Havertz not only just winning the headers in midfield, also making them runs that are very important for the team. And look, Burnley obviously aren't the best team. I think their defensive line was really poor, and I think they defended in the second half was borderline under 5's ability. It was insane how much chances they were giving us. As soon as Aaron Ramsey got injured in that second half, they completely fell apart. Trossard, before he scored his goal, should have scored 2 other goals, I think, with big chances, but eventually he did put it away, and then they just completely fell apart, and we scored another one later and probably could have scored even more. I thought the defence didn't have to do too much work today because Burnley didn't attack. Yet again, they barely created anything. We have the best defence in the league, and I guess that's why. The protection they get from the midfield like Rice and Havertz obviously helps, and Kivior, Gabriel and Saliba, when they move into that back three, is so solid. And yet again, Burnley didn't have a shot on target and they created 0.2 XG. I mean, that's an utterly dominating performance yet again. Burnley still not having a chance at goal. That's now 3 games where Arsenal have barely conceded any XG in the game. And I've made statements saying that sometimes Arsenal should play a double pivot against more dominant teams, and I still think that is the case, bringing Jorginho in and maybe someone in the summer. But when the Havertz plays in midfield, we're still finding a lot of success right now. The goal scoring and the attacking line has been really good recently, and they have started to click. I mean, I think when Gabriel Jesus finally is not injured like he always is considered to be on the bench. I don't even think he should be starting in this team right now. I know there's still question marks maybe over Trossard, but I think Trossard's a more clinical finisher. He's now scored 3 games in a row, and I think he works brilliantly with the midfield. And I think it's key that Trossard and Havertz have been playing together over someone like Eddie Nketiah, who came on later on in the game and didn't really do a lot. And I think Trossard and Havertz is probably what he likes, and that's twice now 2 big away games where they've been very dominant and worked very well. There's also question marks on Zinchenko. Now, I think Zinchenko is a different role to Kivior, but do you even switch up the roles right now? Do we prefer Ben White and Werner? It seems to be working the last few games, and Kivior's been very solid defensively, so maybe that might be the way to go in the next few games. Maybe if you play someone bigger, you want Zinchenko to come back in, like when we've got big games coming up, but I don't know. It's very interesting. We've got a Champions League game obviously in midweek, which is a very, very vital game for the team. So it was good this game that we basically, after 60 minutes, after 70 minutes, we took all the players off. Rice, Trossard, Saka came off, and yet again, that's 2 weeks in a row we've given them considerable rest. Hopefully they'll be good in midweek to go, and hopefully we don't pick up any more injuries because we are really squad thin, especially on the bench as it is. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of the Burnley Arsenal game, and let me know what your match reactions are, and who is your man of the match. Who do you think played really, really well? If you enjoyed this video, I recommend going to watch my video yesterday where I talk about why Arsenal was so effective on corners and free kicks. We didn't really do anything from that today, but we are usually. And if you enjoy any of my content, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.